from the Republican Guard to the Fedayeen, a massive arsenal of Soviet steel, Chinese imports, and local monsters. This is the complete catalog of the Iraqi ground forces. Let's start with the main battle tanks. T-72M1 Assad Babel, the Lion of Babylon, the most dangerous tank in Iraq. Assembled locally, it looked like a modern Soviet tank but relied on cheap steel plating instead of composite armor. Against US depleted uranium rounds, it offered no more protection than a sheet of plywood. Blind at night without thermal sights, they were often destroyed before they could even aim. T-72 Ural, the import, the original Soviet version. Better build quality than the local copies, but handicapped by outdated optics. In the defense of the airport, they attempted desperate point-blank ambushes, only to be decimated by superior American firepower. T-55 Enigma, the box tank, a desperate upgrade. Engineers welded massive composite blocks to the turret to stop missiles. The armor actually worked, but the immense weight destroyed the transmissions, turning these monsters into static bunkers abandoned in the desert. Type 69-2, the Chinese upgrade, a cheap copy of the T-55 fitted with side skirts and boom shield cages. By 2003, they were hopelessly obsolete. Iraqi crews often buried them in sand berms, turning the tank into a fixed artillery piece to compensate for its inability to move and shoot. T-62, the smoothbore, armed with a 115mm gun that ejected spent shells automatically. Powerful on paper, but its slow rate of fire and thin armor made it easy prey. Entire companies were wiped out by Bradleys and Javelins without ever spotting their attackers. T-54/T-55, the Horde, the most numerous tank in the inventory. World War II-era technology in a modern war. Lacking stabilizers or night vision, they were blind and deaf targets. Massive formations were wiped out during the Battle of 73 Easting without ever seeing the enemy. PT-76, the Swimmer, a Soviet amphibious light tank. Its armor was paper-thin, vulnerable even to machine guns, but its ability to float allowed the Republican Guard to cross rivers and flank U.S. positions in the southern marshlands. Next, the infantry fighting vehicles. BMP-1, the Iron Coffin. The fuel tanks were located in the rear doors, literally surrounding the passengers with diesel. A single hit turned the squad compartment into an inferno. Crews often removed the autoloader because it was known to eat the gunner's arm. BMP-2, the Elite, a massive upgrade featuring a rapid-fire 30mm autocannon. Reserved for the Republican Guard, these were the only Iraqi light vehicles capable of shredding U.S. Humvees and threatening Bradleys. BMD-1, the Paratrooper, a smaller, airdroppable version of the BMP used by Special Forces. Extremely fast, but with aluminum armor so thin it could be penetrated by standard rifle fire. MTLB, the Tractor, the Universal Workhorse. It towed guns, carried wounded, and served as a command post. Its wide tracks allowed it to traverse soft sand and mud that bogged down heavier American tanks. EE-11 Urutu, the Brazilian, a six-wheeled APC popular for its speed and air conditioning. It became the preferred transport for officers escaping the front lines. Many were armed with turrets for self-defense. YW-531, the Battle Taxi, a Chinese armored box, crude and noisy, but mechanically unkillable. It kept the infantry moving long after the complex Soviet vehicles had broken down. Panhard M3, the French Guard, a peculiar four-wheeled APC used for internal security in Baghdad. Its high profile made it a massive target, but its speed allowed it to navigate city streets during the crackdown on dissent. OT-64 SKOT, the Polish Giant, an eight-wheeled carrier superior to its Soviet counterparts. It offered better armor and a separate engine bay, keeping infantry cool and protected during long desert patrols. BTR-60, the Nightmare, powered by two separate gasoline engines that had to be synchronized. A mechanical disaster that often caught fire on its own. Thousands were abandoned due to engine failure before seeing combat. BTR-50, the Old Track, an ancient, open-topped carrier, used to haul ammunition. With no roof, they were helpless against U.S. artillery airbursts, serving mostly as logistics mules. BTR-152, the Truck, a 1950s Soviet armored truck, handed out to militias. Against modern firepower, these offered zero survival chances and were used mostly for intimidation. Next, the Scouts and Armored Cars. E9 Cascavel, a Brazilian armored car with a 90mm cannon. Fast and lethal, it excelled in shoot-and-scoot ambushes in the streets of Fallujah. It was the most successful wheeled combat vehicle in the Iraqi inventory. BRDM-2, the Patrol, the standard Soviet Scout. It had belly wheels to cross trenches, but its thin armor made it an easy victim for .50 caliber machine guns. Panhard AML-90, the Sniper, a tiny French car with a massive gun. It had no armor to speak of. Its survival depended entirely on firing first and running away fast. Panhard AML-60, the Mortar, the same French car, but fitted with a mortar, used to drop shells on U.S. infantry from behind city blocks before speeding away. Next, mobile artillery and rockets. GCT 155mm, the French Giant, a modern turret on a T-72 chassis. It outranged American artillery and featured a rapid autoloader. These were the highest priority targets for U.S. airstrikes. 2S-1 Gvozdika, the Carnation, a 122mm howitzer that could swim. It allowed artillery support to cross rivers alongside the amphibious assault waves. 2S-3 Akatsiya, the Heavy, the Soviet answer to the U.S. Paladin, firing massive 152mm shells designed to crush infantry concentrations and concrete fortifications. Astros 2, the Rocket Storm, a Brazilian MLRS capable of firing cluster munitions that saturated entire grid squares. It was Saddam's most effective area denial weapon. BM-21 Grad, the Organ, the classic truck-mounted launcher. 40 tubes of terror. While inaccurate, the psychological impact of a full volley forced U.S. troops to dig in immediately. Alafeo, the Monster, a rare Iraqi prototype, the biggest gun they ever built, mounted on a massive wheeled chassis, designed to shell Israel from western Iraq. Majnoon, the Crazy One, a 155mm wheeled self-propelled gun, a domestic attempt to build world-class artillery, ultimately captured intact by U.S. forces. Type 63, the Minigrad, a 12-tube 107mm rocket launcher, small enough to be towed by a jeep or welded to a pickup. The insurgents' favorite weapon for shelling bases at night. Next, air defense systems. ZSU-23-4 Shilka, the Shredder, a radar-guided anti-aircraft tank. In Baghdad, they leveled the guns horizontally, sawing through walls and shredding U.S. infantry in the streets. ZSU-57-2, the Twin, an ancient open-top tank with twin 57mm cannons. Useless against jets, but devastating against buildings and light vehicles. Roland 2, the Hunter, advanced French missiles on a tank chassis. One of the few systems that could lock onto high-speed U.S. jets, though they were hunted relentlessly by Wild Weasel aircraft. SA-6 Gainful, the Cube, a tracked missile system, known as the Three Fingers of Death. By 2003, operators had to use optical tracking to avoid anti-radiation missiles, severely limiting their range. SA-8 Gecko, the Amphibian, a six-wheeled, self-contained SAM system. It carried its own radar and missiles, allowing it to hide and shoot without a support network. SA-9 Gaskin, the Ambush, infrared missiles on a scout car, used to pop out of alleyways, fire at passing helicopters, and retreat before return fire could track them. SA-13 Gopher, the Tracker, a short-range missile system on an MTLB, designed to protect tank columns from the deadly Apache attack helicopters. P-18 Spoon Rest, the Eye, a massive truck-mounted early warning radar. These were the primary targets of the opening air campaign. Without them, the Iraqi air defense network was blind. ZPU-4 Truck, the Quad, a heavy truck with four 14.5mm guns. Cheap, simple, and deadly against ground targets in narrow streets. Next, the strategic missiles. Al-Hussein, the Scud, a Soviet missile modified by Iraq to double its range. The terror weapon used to target civilian populations in Israel and Saudi Arabia. MAZ-543, the Carrier, the massive 8x8 truck that carried the Scuds. It could hide in culverts and under bridges, making the Great Scud Hunt a nightmare for Allied pilots. Frog 7, The rocket, unguided heavy battlefield rockets, used to bombard large targets like airfields and city centers. Ababil, the drone, a primitive suicide drone launched from a truck. A glimpse into the future of warfare designed to crash into radar sites. Al-Samad II, the banned missile, a liquid-fueled ballistic missile developed under UN sanctions, used briefly during the invasion to target U.S. assembly areas in Kuwait. Next, logistics and engineering. BTS-4, the TOW, armored recovery vehicle. In the retreat from Kuwait, these vehicles worked overtime dragging disabled armor until they ran out of fuel themselves. WZT-2, the Polish recovery, a specialized recovery tank based on the T-55, prized for its reliability in the harsh desert heat. MT-55, the bridge, carried a scissor bridge to cross canals, essential for maneuvering in the Tigris River Valley. IMR, the Claw, a combat engineering vehicle with a crane and dozer blade, used to clear rubble in cities and dig fighting positions for tanks. BATM, the dozer, a massive high-speed tracked bulldozer, used to create the infamous sand berms that Iraqi tanks hid behind. Ural 4320, the backbone, the standard 6x6 Soviet truck, rugged and simple, thousands were destroyed on the highway of death. KRAZ 255, the Beast, a massive off-road truck used for bridging equipment and heavy transport, could drag trailers through soft sand that bogged down other vehicles. Finally, the insurgency era, the technical, the Toyota War, the defining vehicle of the post-invasion chaos. A Nissan or Toyota pickup mounted with a heavy machine gun. Fast, invisible to radar, and deadly in an ambush. Gun truck, the heavy, technical, commercial dump trucks reinforced with scrap metal, carrying anti-aircraft guns. From the Lion of Babylon to the humble pickup truck. These were the machines that defined a generation of conflict. This is the Wardex,